Hi everyone, it's me West Coast Mom, and today we are working on a bobble combo graph. Now what that is when you take a graph picture, in this case it was a sheep, this graph was by One Dog Wolf, and I'm going to do a bobble combo. So the picture itself, the sheep, is done in the bobble stitch, but the background is single crochet. So this is quite nice. What I like about it is that it makes the picture really stand out because texturally it's different and it's almost kind of 3D because the bobbles kind of pop up a bit, right? Whereas the single crochet is flat. So it's just a different way of doing a graph. You can do all bobble, you can do Tunisian, there's C to C, there's lots of different ways, but this is kind of a really neat way I like using for cushions. So, I am working on another one. This one happens to be the flash symbol. And what I've done to prepare is I've numbered the boxes. I've got 24 boxes going up and I've got 22 across. Now, in order to get it set up for the bobble stitch combo, you have to understand the concept. Each block in here consists of 4 stitches, all right? And I've written it out here to explain. So the background is going to be all single crochet because it's going to be flat. So it is 2 by 2, all single crochets. All 4 stitches equal one of those blocks in the graph. Now the picture itself, which happens to be the flash symbol here, consists of, in the bottom row, single crochets, and in the next row, it's bobble stitch and single crochet. Now what I mean by 2 rows is, I'm going to be working right to left. I have to go right to left and then back. So 2 times, that equals 1 row. I'm going to single crochet across this way and do all my color changes. Then I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna go back on that same row and do my bobble stitches using the color changes that are there. So let me show you how we do that. Okay, so to get started, you need to know how many stitches do you have. And this graph happens to be 22 across, so all you do is double it. Because remember, there's 2 stitches by 2, right, in each box. So if it's 22, you have to have 44 across here. So you can do one of 2 things. You can chain 45 and single crochet second from the hook, and then you'll end up with 44, or what I like to do is I do the foundation single crochet of just 44. Now, if you've heard about the full-on bobble graph or blanket or what have you, you will hear that the formula is ×2 but +1. And the reason for that is the bobbles go right to the edge. You're always going to start with a bobble and then single crochet, but it's nice to have a single crochet on the edge. Now, for this particular graph, the background is already single crochet, and in my graph the background goes all the way around, so I already have that single crochet on the edges. I don't need to add the 1. Alright, so this is just simply ×2. Okay, so here we are. I've done some work already so you can get a better sense of what it looks like. You will see here that the ring is in black, but according to my son it's supposed to be gold, and so that's why I've changed that color. So I'm starting with the right side up. I'm going to work right to left, and I'm going to be doing all the color changes. So I am right up here, so I'm going to follow the color changes as is. So this row is going to be entirely done in single crochet, so don't worry about the bobbles yet. Bobbles are going to be done on the next row. So you'll see that I've got myself all set up here with my bobbins. Now, it's easy at the very beginning. There's only 1 block of the background red. Now I need to do a color change into the ring, which here is black, but remember I'm doing gold. Now whenever you do color changes, you don't finish the stitch. So I didn't finish my single crochet. You finish the stitch with the new color. So here we go. Here's the gold color. And I'm going to finish that stitch. And then there's 1 box of the background, of the ring, but remember that's going to be 2 stitches. So you just gotta remember everything is double. All right, now I'm going to switch to the white, and it's going to finish my color change. I left the 2 loops there. I'm going to finish it in the new color. Now, let's see, there's a white. Now, according to this, I need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes of white. Now you ×2, so that's actually going to be 12 stitches. So I've already done 1, and then you can just count along. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now don't finish the stitch because you're going to finish the stitch with the new color. And then I do the lightning rod yellow, and there's 4, so I'm going to do 8 of that. Now my yellow is way over here from that, so I'm just going to pull it over and use it. Some people are neater and want to start a new bobbin, but this is a one-sided project. Because I'm pulling it over, no one's really going to see the back because it's going to be a cushion cover, so it's not that big a deal to me. If you're making a one-sided project, you would be neater and use more bobbins so that you would have a cleaner looking background. So, all right, so I'm gonna keep going. This is all single crochet, and I'm gonna follow the graph very carefully according to the color changes as I go along. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, I'll meet you at the end of the row. All right, so I've worked my way all the way to the end, doing the single crochets in the graph with the color changes. Now is a good time to check, because to have to pull out all the bobble stitches is a pain. Worse yet, to have to pull it out because you realize that several rows back you made a mistake is a pain. So I try to force myself to do a check at the end of every row, because it should work out perfectly, because it's, you know, that's one nice thing about the graph. If it says, you know, there's only 4 boxes of this particular color, there should be 8 stitches. It should work out exact. All right, so when I got to the end of my row, I chained 1, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to attach all my bobbins, because we're going to flip over to the other side, and I just find that attaching the bobbins just makes it that much easier. My original red here was near the end, so I didn't bother making a bobbin for that, so it's kind of like this loose mess. But see how easy that was to flip? All right, so this is what the back side looks like. You can see my yarn joins and things like that. And so, like I said, it's one-sided. No one's going to notice. All right, this is the row that we bobble on, because bobbles are always worked from behind. However, remember, the background is still single crochet. So my red is just going to be single crochet, and I'm going to follow the exact color of what I've done before, because I already did the color changes, right? So I'm working my way back. I'm not looking at the graph, because it's the same row, right? So just follow exactly what is here. Now, one thing that's important to remember is when you need to pull your yarn towards you, otherwise you end up with these funny little loops on the front side that which don't look so nice. So same thing with the color changes. I have to change to the gold color. Don't finish the stitch. I've got my loops there. I'm going to switch colors, and then I'm going to make my bobble. So I do 3 incomplete double crochets for my bobble, and when I do that, I end up with 4 loops on my hook. And you will see I've got 4 loops there, and then I pull through all of them, and that makes my bobble, and then I single crochet through. Now, you can go online. There's many different ways of making bobbles. See, pulling my yarn forward. I do the 3 incomplete double crochets. You can do 4 or 5 depending on the size of the bobble that you want. I find that the 3 works for me. This is not a big project. They still look like bobbles. It uses less yarn, so I've typically used this method of doing that, but it's up to you. But the point is, bobbles are done from the back here, so you don't get to see it as you work, but you just keep going along, and you have to remember to bobble, single crochet, bobble, single crochet. So you will notice that each bobble stitch is completely surrounded by single crochets, both below and above, and to the right and to the left. And then that is what gives the bobble stitch, in this case, sort of that more sort of pronouncement, because it is surrounded by those single crochets, and so they really stand out. And that's what really makes this graph look nice and makes the picture really stand out, which is what I like. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue to bobble stitch all the way to the end, remembering to pull my yarn forward, because sometimes I forget and then I have to take it off, but and when I get to the red, I have to remember that it is my background, so that is not going to be bobble stitch, it's just going to be single crochet. All right, so I'll be right back. All right, so I finished my row. I did my bobble stitch for the picture, but not the background. The background I just did in single crochet, and I chained one at the end here. Now remember, I wasn't following the graph, I was doing the row before, because you've got to go back and forth 2 times to make 1 row there. All right, so I'm ready to flip. Just going to attach my bobbins again, because it does make it easier. My bobbins are all up front because I was checking to make sure that I've pulled on my yarn forward so I don't get these funny little loops, and it makes it easier to flip. So here we go. All right, and here I'm going to take these off so you can see, and you can take a look, all the bobbles. You can check the graph to make sure it looks right. Make sure all the bobbles lined up, right? Because if you forget, if you miss a single crochet, then they're a bit askew, but it should be very, like the graph, very pixelated, very exact. Now, you will see in my work here, it kind of bows a bit because I found that happened as well when I did the sheet, that I think it's just the nature of having this stitch with the single crochet. These are kind of bigger and fatter, it kind of bows out. So when I'm done, I need to make sure I block it, and then you can kind of manipulate it back into, well, in this case, a square. So double check the graph again, make sure it looks right before you go on, and then you just do the same thing again. So now I'm on the next row, single crochet across, do all my color changes, flip it, and then follow along, going back, doing all the bobbles, except remember that the background is just flat. All right, so if you want to see what this looks like when I'm done, I've got something special planned for the back. Be sure to check out my Instagram. You can see all my other work there as well. Check out my other videos. I have information on the bobbins, the ultimate yarn join, other kinds of graph, including a full-on bobble, C2C, Tunisian, so there's lots of other videos I've done out there as well. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this. I really like this technique, great for small projects. Really like the texture and how it turns out. All right, everyone, thanks for watching.